Alright, back once again. The next section we're going to talk about involves the plasma membrane, the cellular membrane, and a little more in depth. We've talked about the phospholipid bilayer and the functions associated with that, but now we're going to deal with some specializations associated with the plasma membrane. And the first of those involves the microvilli. So two things you'll need to help understand this topic. You'll need our concept map. This was the concept map we drew the Oreo picture on, or the phospholipid bilayer picture on. And you also need the diagram that identifies the microvilli and other specializations that was handed out Friday. So take a second to get that information. So when we're talking about microvilli, the definition, which we'll have to write in our first bubble, involves what you see on your screen. It's a finger-like projection that increases surface area for absorption. So take a second to write that down. Microvilli are finger-like projections that increase surface area for absorption. So what do we know from a surface area aspect? If more surface area exists on a cell, for example, what would that mean? It would mean that more oxygen could be absorbed, more information could be transferred from the outside of the cell to the inside of the cell. So in essence, we know that the additional surface area creates more opportunities for information and resources to be exchanged between the cell and the outer component of the cell. The example we're going to use to identify this is going to be in a short video. It's 2 minutes and 15 seconds of this video you'll be required to watch, and there's some information associated with that we'll post in Google Classroom. But we do know the example we're going to talk about in relation to microvilli involves the small intestine, and why the cells within that intestinal wall, what value is gained when they are able to absorb more of what comes down through the digestive system because of the microvilli that are present. So for your first bubble in this concept map, make sure you have the definition. You could also fill in some components on your diagram that are blank in relation to the microvilli, which we'll also cover. So we know with a greater surface area, there's a greater opportunity to absorb more resources. So that would be part B in your concept map. Greater surface area creates more opportunity to absorb more of the things that are vital to the function of the cell. Okay, so in continuing that with your bubble, your bubble labeled C in your concept map, make sure you write down the example dealing with the small intestine and the digestive system of you and I. So we'll use that example to identify and show how that function of the microvilli increase the effectiveness of this particular organ. Okay, so the next component we're going to take a look at involves another specialization of the plasma membrane, and those involve membrane junctions. And what we have when we have membrane junctions, we have links. What links one cell to another cell? And this also follows the next concept map in your note packet. So plasma membrane specializations. When we're talking about junctions, what types of things link each cell together? Well, the first of those involves a tight junction, and this is what you would classify as being an impermeable junction, meaning that that junction, nothing can get through it. It creates that seal that links both of those cells together. The second junction we will talk about are the desosomes junction. When we have that junction, that is the anchoring point between individual cells. So that's the point at which each cell links to another. And the third type we talked about very briefly are gap junctions. Gap junctions are communication portals through which communication can exist. Information can be transferred back and forth between the specific cells. So once again, your second component on your concept map will deal with plasma membranes, specializations continued, and briefly write down what we talked about in relation to membrane junctions, and we'll go from there. If you have any questions, let me know.